is a nice analogy to remember Lent, a small timeout. And you know, if you're a parent, maybe you have said it to your child, and if you're a child, maybe your parent has said it to you. You just don't know what we do for you. You don't appreciate us. Those are common words that come out of somebody's mouth. Frustration, lack of communication, something's happened to make somebody say to someone else they love, you don't appreciate me. You don't appreciate what we've done. It happens in marriages, in parenting, in coaching. It happens all around us. And the origin of those words, I think, oftentimes are lack of communication and lack of recognition for what someone else has done for us. And so Lent is a special time of year to literally slow down and take a season and just realize what God has done for us. And the way we do that is to examine our sinfulness. We look at ourselves more than we look at others, is our intent. This year at Zion, we've picked this theme called Building God's Kingdom, giving to, not giving up. And one of the things we give to God is our confession and our realization that we're faulty and we make mistakes. That's a special gift. In other ways that we want to try to build the kingdom here at Zion with intentional actions and programs and whatever it is, through personal focus by the God-Sighting booklet that I want to make sure all of you get on the way out. That's a personal focus on stories of faith that people have shared in love with you. Another way that we do this personal focus on building the kingdom is through the internal self-examination of who and what we are, so that we do appreciate what God has done for us through Christ. Other interesting ways from a personal standpoint we are going to work on building God's kingdom is through special music, as we had tonight, and through very short and special statements that people talk about how they see God working. There are all ways to grow personally and to develop relationships. Internally within the entire church, our church is working on organizing and talking more about our church structure and organization. There's going to be a coffee time that the Executive Council holds with people, and we send a mailing out to everybody to invite you just to come and visit with the Executive Council to share good, bad, what's on your mind. That's building the kingdom. Also building the kingdom with our internal focus here at Zion is all of you are invited to a mini retreat on March 22nd. Held at Ascension Lutheran Church, and it will just be a morning retreat. We have an outside resource coming to lead us spiritually in that retreat. That is internal kingdom building. From a local standpoint, locally, right here in Freeland, we caught the hint of Habitat for Humanity. Our noisy offering during the next months are offered that way, and any money that people choose to put in that box out there is also Habitat for Humanity, building our local kingdom. We have a larger focus as well, which will be a little bit more regional as we work with churches out of Saginaw through things like the food pantry, Saginaw Metro Ministries, and a collection of ELCA churches that we still need someone to represent us at. We also have an international focus of building God's kingdom. At the end of your pews, you see these baskets, and we're doing baskets of promise, baskets of hope. And this week we're collecting soap bars. And I think we passed out by announcements what next week's collection is. But listen, if the only thing you remember is soap and you bring it every week, that would be okay too. It's okay. But I think there's toothbrush and nail clippers and other things. And, each week if you could bring one of those items, that's our international building focus. And so we have all of these things where we want to try to focus on building the kingdom personally, within the church, locally, regionally, and even internationally. We want to focus on building God's kingdom, giving to. In the best symbolic way, we want to encourage this, or by whatever these items are, you bring, we have no idea. But we will build something with them. We don't know what. We might have an idea, but we can't tell you yet. But we want to take what you bring and make something out of it, because in essence, that's what God does with us in our faith. God does this personally with us. God does this as a community. God does this internationally. And we are focused on sharing our growth in all of these areas. We don't want to over-focus on one above the other. And I want to encourage the sharing of your stories wherever you can. It is about relationships. And once we get to know the answers about things, the mystery is drawn away. Once we see and hear from one another and we find out about their spiritual gifts, we learn to love and respect more. I maybe had an idea, but now I know better, that when she sings, that's God speaking. That's because that's how God works through her, having given us all of that gift. And she's not alone. There's others who have that same thing with music. If that's you, will you say hi to her and say thank you? And grow together a little bit. Or maybe be inspired to share how God works in you so that other people can recognize how God's kingdom is building through us. It's about removing the mystery. We're all nervous. Can I do this? How can I participate? Well, one way you can participate, just keep coming. Go through our confessions and our forgiveness. You have already brought a great gift by being here. You have already brought a gift. Come back again. Bring your little items so we can build something. And especially know if you forgot one tonight, you have to come back again and bring two. Or you might feel guilty. I don't want that. It's the mystery we remove as we share and grow in relationship. Today I had a highly anxious situation with a good friend of mine. You see, my friend had saved a bunch of money and had done all the right things to make an order and doing on electronic credit card, and suddenly I got a phone call that all had gone wrong. A person had trusted the system, followed the rules, and suddenly what he was hearing was, this is rejected. Now he purchased a debit card, and he saved money, and he charged the card, and the card was rejected. So that moment brought up a lot of anxiety and nervousness in both he and I. It's hard to come up with money. So I called the card company after speaking where the order was placed, and they said, look, this is rejected. So I called the card company, and the mystery was solved. Although the card was charged with the proper amount of money, it was not activated. So we activated it. And all was well. Brothers and sisters in Christ, Lent is the time to activate your faith. I know many of you are charged, but are you activated? Building God's kingdom is about becoming activated with the charge of our faith. Come back and share the journey with us. Come back and share your life with us. be a part of this great season. Let's activate one another to live our faith as we reflect on our sinfulness, we turn it over to God, and we prepare ourselves for a wonderful Easter celebration. Let's get activated.